Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, New York City, we have Norel Mancuso. She is the president and CEO of Social House Inc. We're going to be taking a look at brands and their social media strategies for holiday 2019. Norel, welcome to Market Site. And it's interesting that social media advertising is becoming so much more important for brands. What are some of the challenges that they face going into holiday?
Oh my gosh, well, in a nutshell, it's very competitive. There's currently 25 million brands on Instagram and growing, of which 2 million are actively advertising. So you could imagine the fight for share of feed. It's incredibly competitive at the moment.
So how are brands leveraging their social media ads?
So there's a couple ways. There's 3 steps, in fact. Number 1 is strategy. Come out with the right strategy. Figuring out not only things from ROI, what are your KPIs? The second thing after strategy is content. Figuring out what types of content makes the most sense for your brand. And lastly, optimization. I think those 3 steps are things, and those are steps that everybody should be taking during the holiday season.
Yeah, I think
prior to going in.
I think it's great that you mentioned strategy and what
Yes.
exactly you're looking for, because content is the first thing that comes to mind.
Right.
So the next question is, how come brands aren't seeing any ROI on their social media ads?
You know, when you're thinking about that, and the thing is, everybody can receive ROI on their social media ads, but what needs to happen are the steps that I just mentioned.
Right.
If you're not strategizing your KPIs, you might not be seeing the right results from that. And that is something that brands need to focus on. Rather than, and here's a great strategy, rather than going out for the most generic keywords, try to figure out what makes your brand proposition different than the rest and utilize those keywords to fly under the radar, if you will. Every big business right now is looking at the biggest keywords. But if you're selling, let's say, for example, pet food, what is different and unique about that particular brand? Are you an organics brand? Really figure out what your point of differentiation is and go for those keywords so you can sell through to the right audiences.
Now, what about timing? When's the best time to put ads out there?
It's such a good question. And the answer is there is no right time specifically. It's not less about timing, and it's more about choosing strategic keywords, getting ahead of everybody else, not just using the large generic keywords, but utilizing keywords that will actually matter to your niche audience. So really, during the holiday season, it's about strategizing the niche keywords that will get you the placement that you need.
So let's think about Social House and how you're helping your clients. Let's use a specific example of where you would use a keyword and timing and what that looks like, let's say, for a clothing company that you help strategize.
Sure. I mean, it would be helpful. Let's talk about beauty, too, because there's so much opportunity in beauty, right? If I am a small to mid-sized company, and I am selling organic beauty products, I am going to look for keywords that hit all of the organic, sustainable audiences. I'm not going to be using keywords like beauty. It's one of the most sought after keywords out there right now. So if I'm using keywords that are more about sustainability, I'm likely to find interest from people that would be more likely to purchase or click through on that specific ad.
I feel like this year, sustainability and ESG in general has really become a tag word with every brand, every vertical.
Yes, correct. So it's like, that's one example, right? But you have to figure out what the point of differentiation is of your brand. It's about outsmarting the rest, and it's about figuring out what large companies, put yourself in the mind of the consumer. What are they looking for? It might not be during the holidays that you go after everybody, but you try to find people that are interested in certain types of things. It's a psychology game. You have to look at the keywords. You have to figure out what specific interests people are looking for.
All right, great insight. Thanks so much for joining us at Market Site.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.